Hello everyone, welcome to Funcepto Learning. Hope you're doing well. Believe it or not, we all face some or the other challenges in managing our day-to-day operations as leaders, as managers, as team leads. One of the key aspects being, um, you know, managing the metric itself. Um, in this series of session, we are going to discuss how do we build the right metric to measure the performance. So let's get started. Build the operational metric for a case management team. So let's begin. Great. So according to literature, metric foundation is built on three parameters: the speed, the accuracy, and the cost. And what I call it as a SAC model. Now let's understand them in detail. Speed. What do you mean by speed? This metrics helps you measure the speed at which a given task is or the activity is completed. For example, in an e-commerce world, you can consider it to be the speed at which the order is processed uh, from ordering to shipment of or the delivery of the product. But in a finance world, for example, let's consider the speed at which an invoice is processed, right? What is the time it takes to process an invoice? But in a customer service environment, what is the speed at which a resolution is provided to the customer, right? Maybe through a case, through an email, through a chat or through a phone. Now this metric is very important because it talks about the speed of response for any given activity. The next metric that we need to look at carefully is accuracy. Now what do you mean by accuracy? This metric helps you measure the quality of any given task or activity completed. For example, the quality of the order that was shipped, the quality of the call that came to the contact center, the quality of the invoice that was processed, the quality of the employee that was hired. This basically measures the quality. The last but not the least is cost. What do you mean by cost? This matrix helps you measure the cost of any given task or activity which is completed. How much do I need to spend to take one call or answer to one query of the customer? Cost per email, cost per chat, cost per contact, cost per invoice, cost per resource. This is what it talks about. Now, this becomes the base for any given metric that you want to derive for your operations. Now, let's pause here and then go back forward. Let's look into each one of this metric in detail with an example. Now let's understand speed as a metric. Now you have a head of the operation who says, I want 90% of the cases to be closed within 24 hours. And that's the target that has been given to, for example, Tofu. Tofu manages a case management team, right? The first thing that we need to do when we have a goal, right, like this, we need to know how do we measure it the right way. For example, if we are saying we need to measure this particular metric, I would say that the percentage of the cases closed within 24 hours is nothing but the total number of cases closed within 24 hours divided by the total number of cases closed at that particular given point in time. Now let's understand this in more detail. Now let's say Tofu manages a team of case management team. He has been told to look at the January data of how many cases are closed and how we look at how this metric or this goal looks like for the January closure. Now Tofu has gone back, looked into, let's say, any of the CRM, and he has spooled this information for January, from 1st to 31st of Jan, where he has segregated the total number. He has got the total number of cases which were responded within 24 hours. Now how do you get this? Close date minus your start date. From the time you have received the query to your CRM, and the time that it is closed, and that's what it talks about, like say 24 hours in this particular matter. Now he's also considered the total number of cases that has been closed by Tofu's team in January, which is 100. Now if you substitute these numbers in the above equation, you get 80% of the cases closed within 24 hours. Now Tofu is worried because he has not met the target which has been provided by the head of the operation. In this case, 80% of the cases are closed within 24 hours, which does not meet the target. Now, this is how this is the most common metric and the definition that is being used when you want to take cycle time or speed as a metric. Now what you can do here is replace cases with number of invoice closed within 24 hours, number of calls or emails closed within 24 hours, number of orders closed within 24 hours, number of sales that is closed within 24 hours. You just need to replace the metric or the department in which which operations you are handling. Now you can also tweak around the time that you set depending upon the voice of the customer. I'm also going to give you the link to the voice of the customer in this particular description, which will talk to you about how do you derive a target. Now this particular 24 hours is as an example for Tofu. um, this vary from organization to organization, and the best way to look at this is from the customer's point of view. Now you can set your own targets, but if it is not aligned to what customers requirement are, you would not have the business running. So you should always align this to the business. I hope you understood this metric. It's a simple metric. Apply in your current operations and you will be able to see, measure the right metric. And this is 80% of the organization use this particular metric to assess their speed or the cycle time. Hope you enjoyed this video. In our next session, we would be discussing the other metrics, which is nothing but your quality and cost. Until then, take care. Bye.